Two. Hi, everybody. It's Laurie Young, and I'm a matchmaker, and I am with Aleeza Ben Shalom, who is my mentor. I took some coaching lessons from Aleeza, and I come to her when I have special hard problems that I need help with. So, Aleeza, you know I'm a matchmaker both as the Seattle Shotgun, and I'm also a matchmaker on Sayut Sinai. And I have this dilemma. Sometimes I want to suggest a match, and I see somebody has 2, 3, 4 mutual matches already. 4 people maybe that they've said yes to. And I am curious to know your opinion on dating more than one person at a time. So could you please share your wisdom with us? So that I can share with people when I see that they have 2, 3, or 4 matches at one time. Yeah. Thanks.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So in general, when somebody's dating more than one person, they're not really hyper-focused. They might be hyper-focused on their goal, which is finding the one. And they think that the quickest way to get there is to get as many matches in, date as many people as possible. And boom, that's going to get me to the chuppah the quickest way. But in general, what I found is that it's usually a frustrating, confusing, exhausting, challenging process when we have multiple people that we're juggling. So first of all, most people run out of energy, and then they end up giving less energy, and they're like, oh yeah, it just didn't work out. I'm like, right, but why didn't it just work out? Right? It didn't just work out because you didn't have enough energy. Nobody had the momentum. They're like, yeah, but if it's there, it's there. No, if you're not there, if you're not fully present, then it's not going to be there. That energy won't be built, and the chemistry and the connection won't be there as strongly. The other thing is that a lot of people will forget what they've told people. So they'll be like, oh, and they'll start telling a story, and they'll tell it twice to the same person. And they're like, oh my gosh, why do they keep repeating themselves? And the person either will say something or not, and then you have to cover something up, and then you'll start to say something, and you'll be like, oh, did I tell you that already? And they're like, why are you asking me? Like, how many people are you dating that you need to know if you told me already? So it starts to get a little bit confusing. And the truth is that most people, if they're dating multiple people, they're not focused on any one individual. So the likelihood of them actually getting to their goal is very low. So if you actually want to get to your goal, the quicker way to get there is to date one person, focus on them, figure it out. Yes, maybe, no. Okay, no, next. And if it's a maybe, if I go out with you and it's a maybe, I'm maybe going to end it because this might be more exciting. Even though you might be my person and I might have to date you longer to figure it out, I'm still going to end it because you're not exciting enough and I've got somebody else waiting in a queue. And then there also starts to be dating anxiety that starts to happen. Like, I have to go out, or I can't, or I have too much work and too much stress, and I just can't. It's just too many people, and this one's texting me and that one's calling me, and it's like all of these things to juggle. It's like having, multiple clients and not being able to service everybody as well. When you have one client and one big potential client, you want to hyper focus on them. You want to work with that. So in the same way, we want to do that with matchmaking, and either rule it out, say no, next, or hyper focus on them. Maybe it'll grow. Maybe it's going to be there. Maybe it's instantly there. Maybe not. And maybe that's my person, and really just put my all in. So if you, by the way, as a matchmaker, see that, I would just message somebody and say, hey, I see you have a bunch of matches. I do have an idea for you, but when things calm down, let me know, when some things clear off your plate. And then I would just, either do that, or I would just wait until there's not as many matches there.
Right. What do you think about the idea of having 2 matches? Like, let's say a guy, a gal, they have 2 matches at one time. What do you think of the idea of like dating them both till you get to 3 dates, which includes phone calls as dates, and then making a decision? What do you think of that?
A lot of people do it. It's challenging. What happens? Okay, I like you. I don't like you. That's an easy one. This one disappears after 3 dates. That's like what everybody hopes for. Okay. What happens when we get to 3 dates and I'm neutral? I don't know if I like either of you enough. I mean, I guess 3 dates, well, I have to make a decision. So now I'm making a decision just because I hit 3 dates and I'm neutral about both, or I'm like, parv plus, as I call it, like, not super excited, but I have to ditch somebody. And what are you going to say? Like, I don't know. It's not really a no. The problem is it's not a hard no. And I like a hard no. When we're done, I like to end it.
Right. So then you can get into the situation where you like both people. And then you're
right. So then that's the other one. What happens if I like both of you? And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I have analysis paralysis. I can't decide. I can't decide. It's a lose, lose, lose situation. But my clients that get into those situations, I've had different things happen. A long time ago, one client, was in that situation and said, look, I'm so sorry to one of the guys. I ended up dating two people at once. It was a little complicated. My apologies. If it doesn't work out, can I please be in touch? And, can we, pick it up then? And he said, okay. And she went out with the other guy because he was the first one that came along. And it didn't work out. And she called him back and said, I would love to go out again. And he said, I'd love to take you out. Thank God. Thank God he said that. And that ended up being her husband. And she picked the wrong one to go out with at first. Wow. She went out with the first guy in line. So some people also think it's a line. I had another client and she had two guys and she said, but this one's first in line. And this one I like more, but I should go out with this one first because they were the first one. I said, no, you should go out with the one that you have more in common with. If it doesn't work out, then you could go out with the other one. And she didn't date them both at the same time. They came in at the same time, but she chose to go out with the one that she liked more. And the other one, she said, look, I'm not as interested. If it doesn't work out, I'll be in touch. And she married that first one. It was a better fit and she made the right decision.
So I heard of a girl being honest with the guy and she told, I ended up with two matches at the same time. I didn't mean to. And he dropped her. The guy that was potential.
Yep, you will always.
You had two matches at the same time. And he just couldn't hear about it.
Yep.
So let's say somebody's in that situation and I send them this video, trying to get them to focus on one person at a time. Would it be reasonable that they contact the gals or their matchmaker does and says, you know what, he ended up with accepting two people on the same day. They both accepted the match. He'd like to put you on hold for now. Can we just leave the match open and
have the matchmaker say, I'd like to put this on hold for now. This other match came through first. Let the matchmaker take the fall and take the blame because we want the couple to have the greatest success. So, if anybody has to look bad, it's not either side of the couple because we're going to preserve that potential relationship. And the matchmaker has to say, it's my preference that, I requested that he only date one person at a time and asked him if we could revisit this later. And I'm asking you the same.
I think that's great advice. Okay. Aleeza, will you tell my audience what you do in the world so that they know who you are?
Yes, I work as a dating and relationship coach and matchmaker. Similar to Laurie, I work with singles from all over the globe, and our main goal is to help them to get over their hurdles and under the chuppah. And we offer coaching, we offer matchmaking, we have programs. Once you are dating somebody and you're like, oh, I don't know, is it my person? Isn't it my person? We have something called Soulmate Clarity, which will help you to find out if this is your person. We have a whole analysis. We have a whole, a chart, an intake, a whole form, it's a whole system. I love it. It's my favorite.
And your website.
And the website is marriagemindedmentor.com.
Okay, thank you. And Aleeza, thanks for answering our question today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks, Laurie.